doctor. You are knowledgeable of the science of medicine, but there is also the art, the skill of execution of your knowledge. The greater your creativity in exercising that knowledge, then you become a skilled artist at your craft. So you're not only involved in the science of medicine, you are involved in the art of healing. Now, this world, however, is a world that has been more physical than spiritual. And it has not yet learned how to link the spiritual with the physical. So as you become a scientist and skilled at healing the physical, what is the standard by which you measure the health of the person spiritually, morally, and mentally? Now, you know the criterion for the physical body, but what is the criterion for the spiritual, the mental? That is not taught. But
Welcome to the How to Save Lives broadcast. This is our first broadcast of 2026 on the very first day of January 1st, 2026. We thank God, Almighty Allah, for allowing us this look into 2026. And may His peace and love and blessings be with you and your family for the new year. In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, we welcome you to the broadcast. And the title of our broadcast is Establish a Farm Co-op and Save the Lives of Your Family and Community During a Time of Famine. Our special guest, who has been with us, I believe, the two prior live broadcasts, he's been a guest of ours, Mr. Victor Muhammad, and we will bring him on very briefly. But before we do, I want to give a definition of the farm co-op. And please take this opportunity to start posting your questions in the chat regarding a farm co-op. Even if you don't know what it is, I'm going to tell you what it is right now, but whatever curiosities you may have, just post them so we can make sure that we keep the conversation going. Okay. So a farm co-op is a business owned and run by farmers who pool resources to improve their production, marketing, and purchasing power, allowing them to achieve economies of scale, access bigger markets, and negotiate better prices than they could alone, while sharing profits and democratic control. So they negotiate. It's, as they say, they say there's safety in numbers, but there's also unity in numbers, better economy in numbers. And these farm-owned entities handle various functions like selling crops, which is marketing co-ops, supplying inputs. They supply co-ops, processing goods like cheese, like milk to cheese, or even jointly owning equipment. So that's what a farm co-op is, okay? So I would like to, matter of fact, have any of you, and you can just put your comments in the chat and just ponder this. Think about it. Have any of you been acquainted personally with the farm co-op? Do you know where one is in your area? Good question, right? Because we need to do something better for this year. We've seen year after year after year problems with crops, with food supply. And as Mr. Victor Muhammad will point out, you're only as healthy as the food supply, as the food that you take in. Okay. So I'd like to bring our guest up, Mr. Victor Muhammad. How are you this evening, sir?
I'm doing well, Dr. Muhammad. How are you?
I'm well. Thank Allah. Thank God. Well, I just defined a farm co-op, and I'm having the listeners and the viewers to think about what a farm co-op is. And of course, those that have joined us know the importance of us growing our own food. So I'd like you to, being that you've grown up on a farm, that you have been farming for, again, I think you said since you were 8 years old. So I'll let you go further and talk about it because you have real life experience as well as you have formal experience in agricultural, as far as you're a biomedical research scientist and an agricultural scientist. And you have experience in animal husbandry as well. So those are all key areas that one should have to say that that you're a farmer, that you really know how to farm. So please, I give the floor to you.
Thank you, Dr. Muhammad. But before, not but, prior to discussing the inner workings of a farmer's co-op, I'd like to say this to the listening audience. What I learned about a year ago is that people all over the world have begun to tune in to these broadcasts. And because the world is looking to the African American community in America for guidance, and we must understand that we are in the position to provide leadership to the entire world. And in doing so, something that I'd like to mention that I think is critical. I do not intermingle religion with science discussions because it's not polite to proselytize with people when they did not ask you about religion. However, I'll mention something that is not religious, but it is something that the world needs to understand. Because I would not be here to say these words to you were it not for the subject that I'm about to mention. Many people that I have encountered since I was in the laboratories in Washington, D.C. metro area back in the early 90s and even into the 2000s, I was doing biomedical research in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia area. So I met people literally from around the world in those laboratories. And in the last 21 years, I've traveled around the world at many times. And I've visited many countries and interacted with many people. And in that time, I've come across a lot of people who are college graduates in different countries, not just America, but around the world. And what I want to say to those people is this. I would like for all of you who are listening from around the world, I've talked to many of you, I would like for you to go to finalcall.com and noi.com. There you will be able to find videos, audio recordings, books, and writings by Minister Louis Farrakhan. The reason I'm asking you to do this is because your college degree, while you may have worked very hard to achieve it, if you pay attention, it has very little credible value to you. The most that you can do with your college degree is get a resume and go and search for a job. If you do what I'm recommending to you, and that is going to finalcall.com and noi.org and began to order and purchase the lectures of Minister Louis Farrakhan. Listen to those lectures. Heed what he says to you. And if you do what I'm recommending to you, then you will be able to now take your college degree and make it and turn it into a practical application. Without that kind of guidance, you won't be able to utilize your college degree except working a job. I'm not suggesting that working a job is a bad thing. You have to take care of your family. But you have potential, especially as men. The ideals, ideals of God are carried out through the brain of the male human. And if you take guidance from Minister Farrakhan and marry that guidance onto your college degree, then you'll be able to tap into the ideal that you have in your brain and then carry it into a practical use. What I intend by practical use is that you'll be able to do something with your college degree to produce something for yourself, your family, your community, and your nation. I would not be in a position to talk to you today had I not heard Minister Farrakhan when I was working on my PhD at Ohio State University back in 1988. I was silly. I didn't take anything seriously. All I wanted to do was eat, drink alcohol, and laugh. That's all I wanted to do, even as I was pursuing my PhD. But when I heard Minister Farrakhan in a dormitory at Ohio State University in 1988, it changed my life. And I went from being a guy that took nothing seriously to the last 38 years to someone who takes everything seriously. So please listen to what I'm saying to you, all of you around the world. Listen to what I'm saying to you and do it, and you'll find the practical application. Now, as far as the Farmers Co-op, why are we having this subject this evening where we're discussing a farmers co-op? Every civilized, independent people on the earth has the control of the food that they consume under their control, except the Black people around the world, including the African American. When you visit African countries, I've visited 15 of them. I've lived in 4 of them. And each of the ones with which I have some familiarity, out of the 54 countries on that continent, 80% of their food in each country is imported from America, Brazil, and European countries. 80% of their food is imported. When you go to the Caribbean, the black countries of the Caribbean, the majority of their food is imported, the food that is purchased. Now, they will generally buy fish that is harvested by local fishermen. There are people who will grow bananas, oranges, watermelons, things like that. But the majority of their grains, their other vegetables, they are imported. And the same with the African American. You have some African American farmers in America, but the vast majority, they might have a contract with a supermarket to provide some collard greens during the holiday season from Thanksgiving to New Year's. They may provide some turnip greens, some collards, some mustards, and things like that. And some of them may even provide watermelons during the summer. But there is no organization for the most part among them. I know that there is a Black Farmers Association in America, but that's a whole nother subject matter that maybe we'll address later, because I'm very familiar with that, and it's not what you think. And so the Farmers Co-op is an entity, as Dr. Muhammad recited, that provides a level of independence and self-directiveness to the individual or the group that has created the Farmers Co-op and has utilized the Farmers Co-op to take control of the production, marketing, distribution, and sales of the commodities that those farmers produce. And the only people on the earth that do not have those are Black people, no matter what country you visit. So it's time that we, as African Americans, set the standard by establishing a farmers co-op of our own right here in America, so that we can take control of our own food production and our health, the health of our women and children and ourselves. I say to African American men, we have this use of language among us where we refer to our wives and girlfriends as our queen. My queen this, and brother, my queen, and yeah, my queen. And I say to them, I said, well, brother, it's great that you see your wife, your girlfriend, as your queen. I said, but how much value do you see in her when you don't have one hospital for her? There's not one Black-owned hospital in the country that I know about. But you love her, she's your queen, but you send her into a hospital where 90% of the people who are going to be in the delivery room when she's delivering your baby is going to be Caucasian and or Jewish. But that's your queen. And the same level of importance that we have to pay to the delivery of our children and the health of our wives, we have to also place that same level of protectiveness in the development and production of our foods. I made a statement last Saturday during a discussion on the need for a farmers co-op. And the statement that I made is this: I have studied the production of food around the world. And for the most part, I would say about 90% of the foods produced on this planet are not healthy, and it's not wholesome, and the quality is not good. There are some Asian countries where they still use animal fertilizer, manure, and things like that to produce their vegetables and their foods. And that is the best thing to do. But 90% or more of the food produced in this world is produced by the West. And the West is a system where chemicals are used to produce your food. And by doing so, you will never have good health until the food that you consume on a daily basis is changed. The production of your food has to be taken away from the Western world. What do I intend by the Western world? Europe, America, Canada, some of your South American countries, Australia, New Zealand. Even some of the Asian countries don't consider themselves Western, but they use the same practices to produce their food. So while they may not be Western in terms of the personality of the country, still the way that they produce their food is the same as America. And Europe may not use the level of toxicity in the production of its food. Still, it's not of the quality that you really want if you want to be healthy. So I will make this statement again in a succinct manner. Until you and I are completely in control of the production of our food, our health will never be worth very much. You will not be healthy as long as you go to some market and purchase your food. I don't care what market it is. I know what you think about some of the markets where you go and pay $2 extra per pound for your produce. I understand what you believe. But I'm telling you, much of the policies that are used to regulate the food today that you call organic, that you call all natural, the so-called grass-fed beef, the grass-fed lamb. I wrote those policies back when I was an analyst with USDA back in the 80s in Washington, D.C., in the home office. So it's not true, Dr. Muhammad.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. And we'll take a pause while I check the comments. Please ask your questions while you have Mr. Victor Muhammad here and available. But I also like to ask at this time, while we take just a brief break, that you donate to the Closing the Gap broadcast via PayPal. Help us to continue to have the quality guests that bring us life-saving information like Mr. Victor Muhammad, so that we continue to have this not only on How to Save Lives broadcast, but on the other broadcasts of the Closing the Gap broadcast network. And the PayPal, as you see, jkingdom1 at aol.com, or Cash App at $CTG broadcast, or Zelle at Closing the Gap broadcast at gmail.com. We'll continue to need support. We need to help each other so that you continue to receive this information. The information that is given on all of the broadcasts that we offer is not common information. It's very important, life-saving information for you, your families, and community. So, okay, let's go to, we don't have any particular questions, but, we have a comment here. And I'm glad you also tuned in tonight at Any Right, JM4RD. I'm very happy I tuned into this tonight. Very important information. Yes, it is. And hope that we get more that are joining the broadcast to get the information. It's important, but it's life-saving. It's important and life-saving. Assalamu alaikum from our from Brother Chad Muhammad. Thank you for joining us. And I'd like to go further and ask Mr. Victor Muhammad if he would describe or give us some information on the Farmers Co-op conversation and Zoom meetings that are starting to gain a little traction. We needed to gain traction much faster, and more importantly, more so than just a lot of meeting, we do need people um, to investigate the farmers markets. I mean, the farmers co-ops, and volunteer to take an active role with establishing a farmers co-op, because that's what we need to do. Okay, and I have a question for you, Mr. Muhammad. Here we are from our sister Chantel Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Can you speak on the importance of using heirloom seeds and the importance of the type of soil needed to grow healthy food?
The Sister Chantel, I am a little bit more careful what I say to people about things, because I've worked in the field of agriculture since I was 8 years old, and I'm now 61 years old. And all three of my degrees are in agriculture. I worked as a agricultural specialist for the state of Arkansas. I worked as an analyst with USDA Home Office in Washington, D.C. So the reason I give you this background is because many of the terms that you will use, and you believe that you understand what they mean, but in many cases you don't. And I'm not sure that heirloom seeds are better than any other seed. I know that the use in the environment in the secular society is that heirloom seeds are supposed to be non-GMO. That may be true, but it doesn't have to be. Therefore, I can't speak on it, sister. And this is one of the discussions that we had during the discussions we were having on the need for farmers co-op. And I wrote an article maybe 2 weeks ago where I recommended to the African American community, as well as the human family around the world, that we must formulate our research and development corporations so that we can develop seeds, so that we can develop new plants that we develop, and therefore we know 100% what they are. We will know that they're not GMO. How will we know that they're not GMO? Because we developed them in our own agricultural research and development company. So I recommended the creation of 2 business entities. The first one, a farmers co-op. The second, an R&D corporation that will be used to develop new plants, used to develop new livestock, used to develop health products, not medicine. And I'm not going to even say alternative medicine, because when you use the word alternative, it's just modifying the word medicine. So you're still talking about medicine. So I say alternative products, such as the supplements that I was blessed to develop in 1994 that are still being marketed and still have an effect on the people's health around the world. These are the kinds of products that I'm talking about, products that are new and products that we develop, therefore we know how to control them. I said the same thing during the so-called COVID-19 epidemic. People ask me whether they should take the vaccine, the COVID vaccine. My response was no. And the reason I said that vaccines in and of themselves are not inherently bad. They're not. When you understand the science behind the vaccine, it's reasonable. But when you have a people who have a 6,400 year history of killing not only dark people, brown people, yellow people, and red people, they also have a history of killing their own people. So it's not a good idea to take a vaccine that has been produced by the Western world. So I said to the people when they asked me during the so-called COVID pandemic, if I didn't make the vaccine myself, I'm not taking it. I'm not taking any vaccine. In fact, I'm not taking any shot, any injection. If I didn't make it, I'm not taking it. So that's what, and the type of soil. Most soils, sister, are good to produce vegetables. Clay soil is probably not your best soil because of the tightness of it and the way that it holds water and the way that it will grab the roots of your plant. So if you're planting something that is a root vegetable like turnips, carrots, rutabaga, things like that, that have to be pulled out of the soil, clay soil is not going to be the best soil for that. But most soils are good to produce healthy vegetables. And you don't really have to do all of the, I think you call it, where you let fruits and vegetables and stuff from the house decompose and use that. That's okay for hobby farming. But if you're producing something where you're doing more than just a 16th of an acre, that becomes laborious. So you probably want to try something different, like maybe going to the zoo and getting the manure of your herbivores, going to a horse farm and collecting truckloads of manure, and the same thing for livestock farms and chicken farms. Taking that manure and spreading it over the field before you plant. That's what I would recommend.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we have another question. Assalamu alaikum. Good to see you, brother, brother Victor. Sure miss you, brother, in the DMV. This is brother Mark Muhammad. Do you know where I can get a good soil test in the DMV area? I'm learning how to grow foods in my backyard.
Most of your extension service, your county extension service, will have the capacity to do soil tests. Also, some of your agricultural universities will do soil tests for you.
And I also have a really good contact for a place in Indianapolis, and I've just reached out to Vivian Muhammad, who is a farmer and was a guest on the program. So I'm waiting for her resource. She said it's a very good resource, and they give you a great compilation of the the composition of the soil. Okay. And Sister Chantel thanks you. She said, "Thank you, sir." Okay, for your explanation. Are there any other questions? Um, so if there are no questions now, would you like to uh, mention the uh, the Zoom that you started regarding the farmers co-op?
Sure. But before I do that, well, yes, we initiated the discussion for the creation of a legitimate farmers co-op. The reason for that is what we explained a few minutes ago. We will never be able to guarantee the health of ourselves and our families without taking control of the production of our own foods. As such, the Farmers Co-op is a 501c3 nonprofit corporation. It is a member-owned business entity where each member receives a benefit by being one of the owners of the co-op. If you are a farmer and during harvest, where you only have 2 days to get your crops out of the field and your tractor breaks down, well, you can contact your farmer's co-op, rent a tractor from your co-op, harvest your vegetables, and then when you're done, you return the tractor to the co-op because you're a part owner of the co-op. And instead of paying $250 or $450 to rent a tractor from an equipment rental facility, but you can only use it, you can keep it for 24 hours, but you can only use it for 8. Those are the rules. So we initiated discussion on the creation and need of a farmers co-op. And that discussion is ongoing. It's ongoing. And we are doing the best that we can to get the people motivated. But, it is what it is. So what I decided to do, I have contemplated this idea for about 6 months, and I did not want to rush into it because I wanted to give it careful consideration before I stepped into it. But I'm going to be preparing a document to introduce to the people services that if a person wants to farm, want to grow their own vegetables and livestock, here's what my farm will offer. We can either lease you a plot of land for a fee for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or 1 year. We can lease you as small as you want or as big as you want. Secondly, if you have a desire to produce your own vegetables or livestock, but you don't have the knowledge nor the time, or if you're in Michigan and you want to have things grown in Georgia, then you can contact me and we will produce for you what you want. You
Mhm.
say, Mr. Muhammad, I would like I would like a 16th of an acre of okra. We will discuss a fee. We'll discuss the terms with you. And then if there's an agreement, we will produce the 16th of an acre of okra for you. If you want to go and produce livestock, and you say, Mr. Muhammad, I would like to develop a herd of sheep, a herd of goats, a herd of cattle. I would like to produce chickens, broilers. I would like to produce layers. I would like to produce quail, pheasant, turkey, duck, geese. You contact us. You tell us what you want. We will give you a fee and a time frame. And then when you're ready, you can come and pick up your livestock. Or we can manage the livestock for you year round, of course, for a fee. So at this time, these are the services that we are going to write up and submit to you for your perusal. And if it's something that you believe that you want to do, then we will make it available for you. Also, I know aquaculture. I can grow fish. I can grow fish in a pond, or I can grow fish in other environments. So if you are a person who's interested in fish farming, contact us. We can get it done for you. So this is what I want to say to them, Dr. Muhammad. Thank you.
Thank you. Lots of information, lots of opportunity. Um, are you still willing to train those if you have those who are seriously interested in coming and learning how to farm? Are you willing to train?
Well, I just advertised my next set of courses, ag courses, to start on January 15th, 2026. This will be our third semester of agriculture courses. We did an introduction to agriculture where we covered every component of agriculture from a professional point of view, not from a YouTube video, not from a person who has no agricultural training at all, but are presenting themselves as though they can teach you something. Then the second semester, we offered an introduction to plant science and the principles of plant science. And we offered a course in an introduction to livestock production and the principles of livestock production. So that's three courses that we've already completed. And you can read the reviews of the students who have taken those courses. And on January 15th, we're offering those three courses. And the next course that I recommended that people take and sign up for is livestock anatomy and physiology. You want to grow livestock, but as you already see, you lose almost all of your livestock to disease, poor nutrition, and other things because you really don't know what you're doing. So my recommendation is sign up for these courses and you will be taught the proper way to grow chickens so that you'll quit losing all of them, and I recommend, this is a course that I recommend to people for starting January 15th. and that is a course in agricultural biochemistry. You can't, you really can't do a good job in producing commodities, plant, fruit, vegetable, or livestock without understanding biochemistry. Everything that lives has biochemistry. And if you're going to deal with living organisms, plants or animals, you need an understanding of biochemistry, because even in your general life, like the question that sister asked me about heirloom seeds, if you have training in biochemistry, people can't sell you junk. People can't sell you information that is just not true. You take on information from people that's not true because you don't know.
Okay. And what about those who just say, you know what, I just want to be a farmhand. I want to help you to help produce, or help to plant row crops, and or help with the animals, for livestock. What about those people who just really want to come and be a farmhand and just learn under you and have you to direct them to assist in growing row crops or livestock?
Well, when we get started again, probably the latter part of January, if I get enough people who are interested in the in what I just mentioned, or if I decide that I want to produce some more vegetables and livestock, then sure, you're welcome to come. There are 3 hotels right in this little town, and if you have a camper or a tent and you want to come and camp, and you're welcome to bring your camper, your travel trailer, your tent. You want to sleep in the back of your truck, you're welcome. Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you. Okay, let's see if we have any other. It says, gotta dig me a pound stock with, oh, a pond stock with fish, Brother Michael 2X. Okay, here we have another comment. Okay, all this is from our brother Sawab. It says, Assalamu alaikum, family. Excellent information. We must heed these words and implement this advice immediately. Thank you both, Brother Sawab. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for tuning in. So we have to. This is very. I mean, it's beyond serious. I mean, it's beyond critical. This is. It's necessary for life. We have to do this for our lives, again, for our health. You're only as healthy as the quality and the nutrient dense food that you get. So again, very important. And as we're wrapping up, why do you think that we're having such a hard time getting those who actually want to come and I'm talking about people who aren't working, or who may not have any means of income, or very little means of income, just coming to this opportunity. Just over the years, I mean, that's been my experience. I know people who are not working. They don't have they're not gainfully employed, don't have a way to support themselves. But when this is offered, well, why don't you learn this? And that way, as you're saying now, if you plant this, you can make money, you can yield the crop, and that it translates into funds. What do you think is the issue?
In the Quran, there is a discussion where God had given the people a king. But the people did not want to accept the king that God had given them because he wasn't from a certain family, and because he wasn't rich, and he wasn't popular, and he wasn't a renowned basketball player. And so the people rejected the king, even though God had chosen the king for them. They complained about he wasn't from a family, a prominent family. He wasn't rich. But God said to them, but I chose this king for you. But the people rejected the king. Why did they reject the king? Because of the reasons that they told God. So people accept and reject ideas based on the person who brought it to them. I used to say to when I was at NIH and Johns Hopkins and Howard University and all these places, when people would want to tell me stuff about Minister Farrakhan, and I would end the conversation like this, because once I said it, it shut it down. I said, if Minister Farrakhan was a Caucasian, 95% of America would be Muslims. And so, likewise, people reject the very thing that will save their life because of the person who's bringing it.
Mm. Wow.
If I were a member of a certain clique, if I were a member of a certain group, if I were a member of a certain family, then we'd have to beat people away.
Mm.
You know, if I, spoke in a certain way where, like many of us, we say things that are not true. We say things to make people feel good. We say things that entertain people. If I were that kind of person, like many are, then of course there would be more people beating down the door to get to what I have. But I'm a poor guy from Morgan City, Mississippi. I was born on a plantation. I spent the first 10 years of my life on a plantation. And I roll like Hammer, not Puffy. So I don't have a lot of money, And so as a result, is there investor information? Yes, call me. Dr. Muhammad is going to put up my email address and phone number before we close the meeting. So yes, you get in touch with me. So that's the reason there's a lack of participation, Dr. Muhammad. But here's the warning that I gave the people during the discussion on the Farmers Co-op. In October, Mr. Trump put a pause on the EBT SNAP thing. I would take that as a warning if I were you. I would take it as a warning. So, what are you going to do when the supermarkets in your Black community close? What are you going to do? You see, China this year rejected more than $400 billion worth of corn and soybeans from American farmers. 400 something billion dollars.
Wow.
You don't think that that's going to affect the farm belt and the production of food and commodities in America? In 2016, 2015, listen to this now, you didn't pay it any attention, but China purchased the largest meat packer in the world from America, Smithfield. Smithfield is the largest meat packer in the world. It was based in Virginia. The U.S. Justice Department approved the sale, I think around 2015, 2016. So
Mm,
China purchased Smithfield. To give you an idea of the capacity of Smithfield, they slaughter 100,000 pigs each day.
mm,
Now, you say, well, I don't eat pig. Well, maybe you don't, but they also slaughter beef. And even though you don't eat pig, pig affects the economy. Pork bellies are traded on the New York Stock Exchange. Remember the movie with Eddie Murphy, Trading Places?
yes, yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
they were trading pork bellies. Remember, they explained to him what pork bellies were when they were
Yes,
sitting in the office? That's
yes,
not a joke.
yes,
See, but you don't understand the capacity of how things that take place on the international level affect you at the local level.
yes,
Dr. Muhammad.
absolutely. So there you have it. Some real facts, important facts that we need to know so you can make those decisions. But again, I don't believe that there's anyone who is listening or viewing this broadcast that doesn't know. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't know how serious the time that we're living in. How serious is the time that we're living in where we have to take our mouths out of the kitchen of the Western world that produces for production and for money, not for health purposes. There's Mr. Victor Muhammad's information. I've been posting it a few times so you can see it. That's his phone number, and there's his email for those that are interested in the to be added to his list for the farmers co-op meetings, as well as for investment opportunities, and those who may want to um, contact him to lease land and have goods and services provided by Mr. Victor Muhammad. Okay. Okay, so now we are winding down the broadcast, and that has been a wealth of information. This has been one of our most attended broadcasts, actually. So our numbers were up on this broadcast. That's a wonderful thing. At least there's some hope there that people are waking up. And not only do you want to wake up, you want to listen and be a part of the conversation and the planning stages to help bring nutrient dense, safe, quality food to your families and communities. Well, Mr. Victor Muhammad, thank you very much for um, giving us information. As usual, it's a pleasure. It is always good to have someone who speaks the truth and speaks straight words with knowledge and experience to give to us, which is out of love. And I truly, truly, truly appreciate that. Would you like to have um, words prior to the close of our broadcast?
Just this. What I'm able to see at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, when my brain is free of distractions from life, is that what I see is the day when some of you will have to chase down cats and dogs in your neighborhood to kill them, dress them, and then eat them because you did not heed warning and you did not prepare for a day when you would not have any food. That's what I say, Dr. Muhammad.
Yes, sir. And what a dreadful day that will be. Thank you again for listening. Thank you again for attending this very important broadcast. And again, may God continue to bless you and your families in this new year. Thank you. Peace and blessings.
This house is dedicated to knowledge and to the spreading of knowledge. Elijah Muhammad inspired new thought, new mind, new way of civilization among black people. But he wanted a house from which a light could be lifted up to give guidance to all who would be guided as this world begins to close down. This National Center for the re-education and retraining of the black man and woman, but for the totality of the human family of our planet. I named this mosque after the only woman that the Quran names a chapter after, the mother of Jesus, Maryam. All human beings need to be re-educated. That is the purpose of the National Center.